Hey everybody, what's up? I'm your host, Spencer Andrews, A.K.A. DJ Dre, and you're in the mix with DJ Stephen Joint from Ecuador. Stephen, this has been a long time in preparation between me and you, and it's finally happening. How are you doing, buddy? Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
All right. Hey,
Um, I'm here to like working day and night.
one of the things I wanted to ask you was, what was your inspiration to become a DJ?
My first inspiration to become a DJ was DJ Angelo. He's a DJ from New York. He's a hip hop DJ, underground DJ.
And at what age did you start to encounter his work?
Um, I searched for him at 11 years old, I think.
Wow. And how old are you now?
22.
Wow. So that's almost 11 years. Um,
Mhm.
when did you? How did you actually start DJing? Did you have somebody kind of teaching you, or how did you learn? For me, the way that it happened for me, I was about in my late 16 years old, and I met a DJ, Rich Roman, and I would go to his house, and he would let me go hands on, but he worked at a strip club, and I would go there and watch. But it was education. I had to learn the music. I had to learn to count measures. I had to learn the music. And I would go there every weekend, and can I play? Can I play? And he would tell me no, no, no. And then finally one night he looked at me and said, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be, playing music." And I was so scared. But the reason why I say that is because it was earned for me. I'm 52 years old now. I've been doing this for over 25 years in club radio, etc. And I just don't feel that today's DJs have really learned the skill. So again, asking you is, how did it happen for you? How was your learning? How did the learning happen for you?
Okay, the first person that I met was a neighborhood. Live behind of my grandma house on Atarasana. Was when I was 11 years, and it's like he was a crossover DJs. I know that it also called like um how do you say, like when you mix all genres,
Oh,
you know?
okay. Basically, a full range DJ, not a
Yeah, full
not a
range DJ.
not a specialty. He didn't specialize.
Hmm. So he got like vinyls and also got Hercules, and I was like um walking with my dog, and I saw him mixing, and I was like, what are you doing there? Could I learn it? Yeah, for sure. And was first day, second day, then I started to say to my grandma, I'm gonna go to cyber, and I don't went to the cyber. I went to my neighborhood house, and I start to learn DJ. Um, Basically, it was most like autodidact. I don't
Right.
know if I spell correctly, um, but yeah,
So,
that's the way how I learned DJ.
right. Okay. And at what age did you actually start playing in? First of all, that was again, what was the age that you had pretty much 11 years old? At what
Yeah,
age? At what
yeah.
age? At what age did you finally end up getting your own equipment?
You're not going to believe me.
No, because I will believe you because I have a DJ that I have to interview. I have a DJ I have to interview, and he's here in the States, and he started DJing at
Yeah.
7 years old. So go ahead, and I'll go for it. Go ahead. What was the age that you bought your equipment?
My my first rave was at 12. The
Wha-
first party that I made was 13 years,
And you had equipment for that?
like 1 and 3. I got from that time. I had like an American string mixer, just
Right, a regular mixer. Okay, but what did you do for equipment? I mean, did you have turntables, CD players? What did you have?
right now.
No, back then when you first started.
When I start, when I start at the beginning, I just start with Atomics,
Oh, okay. No,
and
all right.
then I bought like yeah,
All
with
right. So
software,
you were
and then I bought like a mixer.
okay. You were using software at that time. Okay. Um,
Hmm.
well, let me ask you, what are you using now for equipment?
Now I'm using Pioneer CJ 2000 Nexus 2.
Okay, so those are the actual players, not the single unit, right? Yes, those are. What made you choose over hardware versus software with integrated, well, actually hardware with integrated software, where now people are using the PC and the player, or are you just using the PC with those pioneers also?
No, I prefer to play just hardware
Right,
because you got all over there, so you don't need a PC.
right. You're using the
Uh,
US. You're using the USB drives.
mhm.
Right. Okay.
Or CD.
Or CD, correct, right. I started out on vinyl, and then, finally it was time to upgrade, which was a decision because, I had all these crates of records, and I really didn't want to have to transfer it to data, to CD, but it was really a big difference for me to do that. And
You mean
then
with tape record?
Yeah, just to send it into the PC, record it, then make it into a file, MP3 file. I just,
Oh,
I had hated to wanted to do that back then. I wasn't gonna re-download all the music that I had. I had too much music to download. Um, but it's a time saver. But I prefer the players, but I have players and PC. PC I don't like. I just feel that with PC, anything can happen, and but that's me. Um, and now you started playing in the clubs at what age would you say, or what year was it that you entered into the nightclub?
my first play at the club was when I was uh 13 years old.
Wow.
I was like on Leg Club here.
Right.
Time ago, they have a social here,
Right.
so
Okay.
yeah, it was the first time. But I lie, I lied to them
Right.
because I told them that I was 16 and I give to the manager a fake ID that had my age like
R-
18. I was like,
right. Right. Yeah.
man.
Well, for me, I started actually in the clubs by the time I was like 17. My career as a DJ, it actually grew pretty quickly, but that's me. So playing into the nightclubs, and how do you feel that the music has progressed from when you first started to now? Do you think the music, like for me, I basically play vocal house, no techno, nothing like that. I know the music really changes when you go global. There's a lot of techno, and there were some places I was checking it out on Facebook. I mean, like they're playing at 160 beats a minute. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's not even music in my eyes. That's just noise. How do you feel the music has changed over the years? Do you feel that it's gotten better or worse? And also, what kind of music do you play?
Yeah, what type of music? Yeah, for sure. On electronic music, I feel that it's worse. It's declining because right now it's about competition. It's the same trade like pop. So I don't know if as a future on electronic music actually.
Well, I personally feel that the music has gotten worse.
Yeah.
For me, I spend a lot of time researching music. I can spend, I have been known to spend uh, eight
Mhm.
to 10 hours in the chair online just researching music, and I mean, I get it from other DJs, I get it from some producers also, but it's I just feel like everybody's playing this EDM music right now.
Yeah.
T-
Mhm.
to me, the
No
music,
way. No
yeah,
way.
right. The music is very relaxed in my frame of mind. Um,
Mhm.
for me, the '90s. A lot of people will tell you that the '90s were a great year for music. I am a all genre DJ. I play Latin. I play house. I play hip hop, reggae. I even play Latin. But the thing is, for me, I know the music, and that's why I can play the merengue and the salsa. I can
Oh,
play,
I think.
I can play
Oh, you
culture.
can. Okay.
I can play culture reggae, meaning from the country, because I know the music. And that's what's another thing. That's what's blessed me to be able to play all these different events because I know the music. Um, how is it down there? Are there a lot of clubs, or I know prior to the pandemic, how was the club life?
Yeah, like you can improvise, but currently you should know the music.
Of course, I mean you can always improvise, but it helps to know your music. But one of the things that I wanted to know was how was the nightclub? Uh, how was the nightclub
On Ecuador.
scene? Right, how was it prior to COVID? Are there a lot of nightclubs? Whereas, say here in New York, we don't have a lot of
Oh,
nightclubs anymore. They've all have vanished, and that had nothing to do with COVID. It was just the culture. Now everybody goes to a
yeah.
lounge.
Mhm. Yeah, over here we got a lot of nightclubs, but the thing is that not all of these clubs are electronic music clubs. Uh, they're more Latin music.
Right.
There are a few clubs that are electronic music, but most of them are like for commercial music. And sometimes I don't know, it's not my kind.
Right.
Yeah, for me, it's not important if it's EDM or if it's underground. But for me, it's important if the music sound good.
Of
But
course.
sometimes it's so simple,
Right.
when the music is the same on the first track of the album and the same trip on the last track, just make the reverse.
Right.
I don't know if I want to hear it.
Right. Well, for here in the States, our music is pretty much defined. I mean, if you go into most nightclubs, there were sets. So you would get a house, a reggae, a hip hop. Um, Nights were also produced as a hip hop night, a house night, etc., etc. Um, and of course we have Latin clubs, but the main American, if you would say, was a little bit of everything, and you know, there was a time you could work for a club, but now you have to. It took many years in the past. You had to work for a promoter. Is that the same for you where you are? Do you have to work for a promoter?
To be part as a DJ on the club.
Correct. Yeah, to be in the club scene, to
Yeah,
work.
I personally don't do that. I never do that.
Right.
I most focus on produce. If I have to sell, if sorry, if I have to sell tickets to mix,
Right.
no, well, no, bro, sorry. I prefer to produce.
Okay.
But yeah, I saw many cases about it.
So you're more into the production now than you are into the DJing part. Whereas
Yeah,
for us over here, and I'm only clarifying this because we're countries apart and things are a little bit different in countries. For us, if we produce a event, you come to me and you say, "Hey, Dre, I want to have this huge party. I need lighting, I need sound, I need alcohol, I need food." So, we would be part of that production in putting all the entities together. If somebody does an outdoor event, but you're producing the lineup, you're producing the music, what kind of music that you want. I want 10 fog machines, I want this and that. So you would rather have a hand in putting it together than being on stage, correct?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
See, I'm not
Yeah,
like
yeah. Tell me.
I'm not like that at all. I want to be on stage. I don't want to put anything together. I want to have people, I just want to go out there and play my music because, like I said, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I feel that I can train people to like certain music because the music is so horrible right now. And
Yeah,
a lot of people, they're listening to terrestrial radio, land-based radio. There is satellite radio, but a lot of people are also listening to internet radio. I just don't feel that a lot of the music is really getting out there. For you, how do you feel? Do you feel that people are a little bit deaf to genres of music, that they're sticking to what they already know, what they're playing on the radio? Do you feel that's the case?
yeah. I feel that sometimes people just want to be part of a group, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's just like when I used to play in certain clubs, the owners would come up to me and say, "Okay, pretty much what we have in the jukebox, top 40." And I would tell them, "Well, that's not what I do. I don't come in. If you want to hear what's in your jukebox, then what you could do is put it on. I'm going to leave. I want people to hear music that they really haven't heard, mixing it,
Yeah, for
mixing
sure.
it, yeah, mixing it though with music they do know, so that you can keep them around. For example, I worked in a club one night, and I put on. I don't know if you've ever heard the song "Fired Up" by the Funky Green Dogs, and it had a very heavy bass intro, doom doom, and the owner saw people weren't dancing, and he came over to me and he said, "Oh, play the Bee Gees, Staying Alive." And I looked at him like, "What
Yeah,
are you on drugs?"
yeah. I got a bad anecdote here. Like, time ago, I was playing on a fest, and I don't know why it happened, but happened.
Right,
The thing is that you could you couldn't play something that is more powerful than the main DJ. Doesn't matter if you play a lower BPM. The thing is that you could put people on fire. You can make the dance floor rain. Doesn't matter if you are the special guest.
yeah,
The thing is that the main DJ have to be the star.
right,
So it's like, come on, man. If you are the main DJ, you should know more of other DJs.
right,
So it does not matter if the other guys have better music of you.
right.
You should know another techniques, and let's see what you could do. That's
Well,
it.
right. Well, one of the things that pretty much say happen is, you, for me at least, when I became a DJ, um, I played the way I want to play. I didn't want to play what people knew, but you have to. You have to do that because people are trained. It's kind of like I'm a meat and potatoes guy, but if you give me vegetables, I'll run away. Um, so you have to train people very slowly, but for me, I got known as a DJ that just had a very uh, crazy way of playing music, playing a lot of music that people did not know. And that was one of the things that really, um, started my career was that the way I played music. I played music that people didn't know, but I played the music that made them dance. And they would come up, oh, what is that track? Oh, that thing is crazy. Um, oh my God.
Shazam.
Right, I never heard that before, but that's awesome. And, you know, any DJ can go into a club and play what's on the radio. And that's not good because I feel that if you want to hear what's on the radio, then listen to your radio. Don't go to a club. It's my theory, and like I says, it's just the way that I played music. It's the type of music that I played. I wasn't your typical DJ. Everybody was playing the same thing. DJs were playing song A, song B, C, D, E, and I was playing, number one, number two, and people hadn't heard it, and it's just what carried me through my career as a DJ that people didn't know what the hell I was going to do. I didn't have a playlist. I would always hear DJs, yeah, I'm kind of busy right now. I'm putting my playlist together for tonight. And I felt, well, if you have to write down what you're going to play tonight, that's not very good. I would go into a club, and I still do. I go into a club and I just start playing. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't sit there and go, oh, I'll play this, that, and the other thing. I just play. Do you feel that a playlist is a good thing for a DJ, or do you think just going off the top of his mind is the way to go?
Depend on the case. Sometimes you could get um, better performance with improvising. So I don't know. Sometimes yes, and sometimes no. Depends on the case.
Hmm. Okay, so we are definitely two different people. Um, I mean, if you're doing a private event, obviously you have to play. I'm sorry. If you're playing a private event, you obviously have to play what they want. But I mean, if you're playing in a nightclub, and it's a house night and you're playing house music, you're fine. Um, I just feel that, you know, um, you know, playing the same music over and over is just kind of boring. Um,
No, but the thing like as a DJ, you have to have a folder with a lot of tracks and also a playlist. A
hmm,
folder with a lot of tracks doesn't matter if you have a specific order, but you have to know all the tracks or more of them. So in the case of the other DJ does not know, or in the case that the hour you got more time for your hour.
right.
So yeah,
I mean, for me, like I said, the way that things normally work here, in our clubs is, you have a house DJ. He does 8, 9 hours of the night. Um, they may have a guest DJ that'll come in, which is what I pretty much do. Always labeled as a guest DJ. I come in, I play for 1 hour at a very high price. But it's because I don't play the music that the house DJ plays, and that's why that they do that.
yeah,
Um,
bro,
but
that's something that I want to ask you.
yeah,
Why producer now I'm remixing the same track from the same artist from 40 years ago?
yeah.
So why?
A lot of music is definitely being remixed, and it is because, in my opinion, that people like the music. Like for the United States, we have classics, we have oldies, we have freestyle, and people will always love that music. I think what happens is, as you get older, you don't like music. You want what you listen
Yeah,
to, and it's hard. And it's
do
hard
you
to
like
get
David
that.
Bowie, for example? For example, do you like David Bowie?
All right. Well, first of all right. I'll answer that in a second. For me,
Okay.
the music that I play is basically house, reggae, hip hop. Um, Latin house. I don't play, the old classic rock. I'm not that type of a DJ. I don't do those
Yeah.
type of events. But
Hmm.
I did come up on rock, on classic rock. So Pink Floyd, David Bowie, Def Leppard, Ozzy Osbourne. Yes, still like that music, but I don't play it as a DJ because that's not
Yeah,
my
yeah, for sure. Because they are perfect. They are perfect. They are master prizes. That's
Well,
it.
that's
Uh,
right. But for me, those are not the events that I do. I do have some remixes of them in a house form, and I might throw it in. Like I said, I don't know. It depends on how I feel. Um, I don't know. It depends on how I feel. I could be playing house music and throw in Michael Jackson. I just never know
okay,
what I'm gonna do.
there are some remixers that are good. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think what happens is that.
Damir, for example, Andrew Salman.
Right. I think what happens is people that remix music may have a favorite and say, you know what, this worked out good as it was originally. Let me see how it works out. Remix. If you take, Dancing Queen and I've heard Staying Alive remixed.
Yeah,
I mean, every remixer is different. One of the things for me is I was trying to get into remixing, and my problem is that when I get into it, I'll come up with say a baseline beat, but then I want to add, and then I want to add more, and I want to add more, and by the time I'm done, I have a remix that has maybe 10 or 20 tracks on top of it, and it just drives me nuts. So therefore, I don't remix. Um, I might remix on the fly, with one track, but I cannot sit and just remix music. It drives me nuts. Can't do it.
yeah,
Like I
yeah,
said,
yeah.
I'm a DJ. That's it. I'm not a remixer. I can't do it. I can't. I have too many thoughts in my head to remix music. And so that's how that
Yeah.
works. With you guys that are remixers and producers, I give you all the credit in the world, but I don't want any part of it. No way. I know guys that remix on the fly. They'll do an 8 hour set, and they're just constantly remixing, and I'm like, no, no, that's not the way I work. I can't. I don't have the brain for it. The same thing happened to me when I switched over to PC, Mac PC, whatever you want to call it. Is that I didn't know where my music was, and it was very hard for me to find it. And then I started, if something would pop into my head, um, and people always told me, well, try to, name the folders in a way that you would know. And I'm like, it don't work that way with me. I have to see it. Before when I did CD, I had everything in front of me. So even when I do it USB and I search the files, it's a pain in the butt for me. It really is. Um,
Hmm.
so that's why I just that's how it is for me. Um, do you think? Here's what I wanted to ask you too. Um, do you think anyone can be a DJ, or do you feel that they need to learn? I mean, because there is a lot to learn. You need to learn a crowd. You need to learn your music. There's a lot more than just putting
Yeah,
two songs together. I mean, I can mix two tracks together for 30, 40
yeah.
seconds.
I think everybody could play music, but it's a little bit more difficult that to put that to put place. Sorry, that to put track together. Um, that for example, to get all souls together,
Yeah,
continue dancing for a whole night.
right. Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, some of the clubs that I played in, I remember the owners would say at one part of the night, you need to kill the crowd a little bit. I need them at the bar. There's too many people on the dance floor. And for a club DJ, I think that you really need to understand how the club business works. Yeah, you're there to make people dance, but the thing is, if you make them stay away from the bar, the club you're working at isn't making any money. You're hurting them. So you kind of have to know how to work a crowd to come and go, but not kill the floor. I've seen DJs, do that. But now you see on Facebook, it's just hysterical. On Facebook, they say, "Hey, you buy this controller, you can play music," and I
No,
mean,
no. As a DJ, you have to consider emotions. So there is a lot of people that could play music, but they don't consider emotions. There are no DJs. They can control any crowd. So there is not the same.
right, right. So it's not. I mean, for me, I mean, like I said, I'm very passionate about what I do. Like I said, it was an education for me. I had to learn how to play. I had to learn how to be a DJ, and that's my success. To be doing this for 25 years plus, to be traveling to different places, to be traveling to different places, and to go into a club, play for an hour, and be paid almost 2 grand. That works for me. And today's DJs, I don't think they will ever be able to play in a club. I'm just saying is if you're upcoming as a DJ, the chances of you playing in a club are slim to none. That's how I feel. So you pretty much answered the question that no, you will never be a DJ. Not you, but just because you bought a controller, you won't be a DJ.
Yeah, yeah, that's because there are many um like teenagers that buy a controller because they want to be popular. Sometimes they want to be famous, or they want girls, or they want drugs. They
Well,
don't
right,
do because
right. Right.
uh,
I agree with what you just said there. I would have brought that up, but you're ahead of me, which is great. I think a lot of people started in my era. They started to DJ because they wanted to be able to get the girls in for free, their friends in for free, and they wanted to be able to drink for free. Um, like I said, I started in the clubs at the age of 17, and I tell you, I learned pretty much immediately. I said, no, I'm here. I'm here to make money. This is going to be a business for me. Um, I'm not here for free drugs, free drinks, but the free drinks is nice. I appreciate that. But, well,
it's
one, I've always been addressed by every club owner that when I work, at the end of the night, they'll say, you have a $200, you ran up $200 at the bar. You shouldn't be buying drinks for everybody. And I said, no, that's all mine. Um, so I don't pay for drinks. It's in my contracts, but I don't get drinks for people. I don't invite a lot of people into the club because you're losing money that way. The way that it works here is promoters get X amount of the door, X amount of the bar. Coat check belongs to the nightclub. But one of the other things that I wanted to ask you was now you've done also the festivals, and when I first started doing them, it really wasn't as I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word. I'll probably spend an hour trying to think of it, so that'll be a whole new show. It wasn't as obvious. There you go. It wasn't as obvious to me as it is now. Do you feel that the DJ doing festivals has become maybe like a 10% physical entertainer where he has to come out and hype up the crowd? I hate to be seen, I hate to be heard. And people are like, why are you doing a radio show? But I hate to be seen. I don't like to, be out there and, it's hyping people up. But I like to just play my music. Maybe I get on the mic every now and then, do a quick, hype. But I don't like the dancing around and all that. Do you think the DJs that do festivals have become like, maybe 10% physical entertainer?
um, I think as an artist, you should make a full performance, but not with a MC or DJ Stephen Joy, DJ Dre. No, because for me it's something ugly. You should express the whole idea of your presentation
Right.
with sounds, with frequencies, and you could play it with effects and make feel the crowd all you want and all your feelings
Right.
with this. You got the equipment,
Yeah.
so make.
For me, I mean, don't get me wrong. For me, I do have my DJ intros are professionally done by. We have a voiceover guy here that does all the voiceovers on the radio stations. Coming up next week, we have the. So he's done my voiceovers. I mean my intros, and that's all I use. Like I never introduce myself. Yeah, I have my voiceovers, but also in my music, in my tracks, like when I do a mix, I put little, I put little things into it. Like you might hear a something from you saw, maybe something that you saw on TV. The music will be playing, it starts to die down, and you might hear something from Family Guy. Oh, this is the new meth you put on your penis, and people, said to me, "Why do you do that?" And one of the reasons that I do it is so that people know it's me.
Mhm.
You're not gonna play my music and pass it off as yours because you're gonna get caught. People are gonna say, "Wait a minute," I know DJ Dre. DJ Dre does that to his music, um, but I just feel that I don't want to be a physical guy. I like to just sit there, play my music. I've never danced. I'm that person. But um, you know, another thing is in Ecuador, or I know you also lived in Buenos Aires. You lived there for a while. Is there like here in in the U.S. we have a gay community, um, and we have clubs. That we have a gay community nightclubs in certain locations. Does that exist where you are?
Here in Ecuador, yeah.
And
Yeah, I
it
also play time I go on gay parties too.
right,
Argentina. Okay, when I was in Argentina was the COVID, so the isolation.
right,
So
right, yeah,
I
right,
play little times on clubs.
right. I'm just saying, have you played in gay nightclubs before?
Yeah,
As a heterosexual, of course. I mean, for me when I first started, I'll never forget. Someone.
crazy parties.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, when I first started, I'll never forget. Someone came up to me and says, "Hey, look, they need a DJ at this club next week. Can you play?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Just so it's a gay club. Do you have a problem with that?" And I'm like, "I could care less," you know. And my friends always, and I'd be like, "Yo, I'm playing this club. You want to come?" And I'm like, "It's a gay club," and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." I'm like, "Dude, what do you think? Like, you're gonna walk in there and you're gonna be the sexiest thing they see." I've had people come up to me and say to me, "Oh, you're cute," and I tell them, "Hey, man, you know what? I really appreciate that, but I play for the other team, so if I decide to switch sides, I'll look you up." I'm not going to sit there and punch someone in the face. I'm not that shallow of a person. But what I'm trying to say is the gay community playing. If you said to me today, "Dre, what do you want to do? You want to play for a straight club or you want to play for a gay club?" I'm going to tell you, I'd rather be in a gay club because they appreciate you as a DJ. They appreciate your music, and all that they're there for is to have a good time. Um, I'll never forget. A buddy of mine was working in a club, in a gay club that I was supposed to play in. He wanted me to come up just to get a little recognition prior to me playing, and I grabbed the mic. I had been drinking. I was a little messed up, but I was feeling good. And he played a track that I had edited. And in the track, the music dies down, and you start to hear moaning. And the moaning of the female, it builds and builds and builds. And just before in the track she would orgasm, I grabbed the mic and I said, and I'm yelling it. I'm like, if you suck dick, if you eat pussy, make some fucking noise. And I'll never forget, it was a split second, my buddy looked over at me like, are you fucking crazy? And then the crowd, they just went nuts, screaming and yelling. They loved it, you know. And what I'm trying to get at is I really I appreciate the gay community when I work in a nightclub with them because, and I hate to say with them because
Yeah,
I hate to say with them because they're regular, they're regular people. But what I'm just saying is, I would rather play for the gay community
I mean, like,
than the straight community.
there are another kind of community that make like battle lists. So
Yeah, like I said, it's a better crowd. It's a better night. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It just I think that they're party. I think they are. I've described them as party creatures. They know how to have a good time, and if I can go and play at a club and I can have a little fun, I'm okay with that. Um, I'm not a fun guy when I play. When I play, I look like I'm pissed off about something. But, like I said, I don't dance. I don't like to be seen really, so I'm very to myself. But that's how it is for me. Um, I'm glad that you came on the show. It's been a long time in the workings. Me and you were having issues and missing each other for certain dates. And I really appreciate having you on. Before I let you go, I want to thank DJ producer Stephen Joint for being on in the mix. And Stephen, before I let you go, is there anything you want to plug?
yeah, for sure. Find me on Instagram, Spotify, these are all the platforms. I'm like Stephen Join Music and also like Stephen Join. Um, Now I'm working on cinematic music, so you can also see all my works on Instagram TV and YouTube.